Hello from the roof of my narrowboat. The video I'm doing today is going to be a bit different from normal because it's going to be in two parts. So in the first part I'm going to be going through a place called Kinver, which is a really beautiful place in Staffordshire, and then once I've moored the boat I'm going to talk about something that quite a few people have asked me to explain in the past, and that is how do I get electricity on the boat given that it's off-grid and it's not connected to an electricity supply. I've previously avoided doing a video about this because it's definitely not my area of expertise, but I have recently upgraded my electrical system, so I know a little bit more than I did before, and I'm going to try and do my best to explain it to you. Yeah, you too. Thanks for your help with the lock. I didn't film most of the lock then because I was having a chat with a man called Tim who lives near there and was helping me. He said he's originally from Birmingham, but he's lived in Kinver for 50 years and he'd never move anywhere else because it's such a lovely place. Whenever I think of Kinver, I always think of the rock houses. They're said to have been the last inhabited cave houses in England. In fact, there were still people living in them until the 1960s. I remember visiting as a child and being absolutely fascinated by them. I won't be visiting today, but I did go earlier in the year with my dad. You can see him here inside one of the houses, and here he is giving the place a good sweep. But let's get back to my journey along the canal. I've lost my sunglasses, which is annoying. I really could do with some sunglasses today, I think. I'm about to do the second lock of the day and I'm actually getting some help here from somebody called Ali, who I've met a few times before. She and her partner basically travel all over the country on their narrowboat and our paths keep crossing, which is quite funny. We keep seeing each other in the same places. like I'm doing some very dodgy steering today because I can't see anything with the sun in my eyes. I now need to fill up my water tank. If you want to find out more about how I do this, I did film a video last year where I talked about it in more detail. So I've just been filling up my water tank and this lady has come along with her dog. What's your dog called?
Betty.
Hello Betty! Hello Betty!
Hello.
Oh. Hello! Oh. Okay, I've decided to have a bit of a change of plan. I was planning to go a bit further along the canal and go to a quiet area where I can moor away from other boats so I can explain how my electrical system works, but I've been slightly freaked out by something. I might be worrying about nothing, but I keep seeing the same cyclist. He's been going past my boat loads of times up and down the canal ever since I was moored in Whittington back there, and it just seems a bit strange really. I might be being paranoid, but I just had a bit of a bad feeling, so I've decided to moor here because I'm near other boats, so it seems a bit safer basically. I'm still going to explain my electrical system to you, but I'll do it tomorrow after I've moved the boat to a quieter area. Before I moored my boat, I spotted a boat roof which was completely covered in solar panels. I wasn't sure why there were so many, but it turned out this boat is actually propelled by solar power. Given the electrical theme of this video, I went to speak to the owners to find out more. So I've just wandered down the canal to speak to a couple I saw on their boat because I was intrigued by all their solar panels. And what's your name?
My name's Matt Parker. This is my wife Pauline.
Hello, I'm Pauline.
So your boat is well, it's quite unusual, isn't it, really? Can you explain how your boat works?
It is. It's what they call a parallel hybrid boat, which means it has a diesel engine, but it also has an electric motor. And on days like we've had today, when it's been sunny, we've cruised for about 2-3 hours today on the electric motor, and we've still got about 96-97% state of charge, because we've been almost putting in as much solar power as we've been using to move the boat. So when the sun shines, it's great. When it doesn't shine, it's not so good, and that's when we use the diesel.
So obviously you have to have loads of solar panels on your roof, don't you?
Yeah, it means you can't have anything else. We've got a barge pole and a hook that most people have on the top of the roofs, but we can't put them there. We have to we store them inside the boat, which is quite nice actually.
And also the gangplank as well.
Yeah.
It's stored in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Thank you to Matt, Pauline and Lucy the dog for being in this video. Good morning from my boat. This is the view out of the window. It's not as warm today as it was yesterday. I've just had to do something that I dread doing, and that is opening the weed hatch on my boat to see if there was anything wrapped around the propeller, because yesterday as I was driving along I felt like the boat wasn't driving as it should, which often means there's something wrapped around the propeller. I've never actually had anything wrapped around my propeller before. I have checked it in the past, but I did find some plastic, which I think must have been from packaging of some kind. So hopefully the boat should drive a lot better when I get going again later today. Hello, it's now the afternoon. I've just been for lunch with my parents, but I'm going to move the boat again now. Before that though, I'm going to start the engine and make sure that the weed hatch is watertight, because I don't want to accidentally flood the boat. I think it's okay. Hello! I'm going to show you my electrical system now, starting inside the engine bay, which is where I am now. Now, most narrowboats are powered by diesel engines. This is my engine here, and Like with a car engine, this has an alternator, and the alternator creates electricity whenever the engine is running, the same as with a car engine as well. With a car, the alternator charges the car battery, and narrowboats are very similar, except instead of charging just one battery, they charge 2 or more. So here are my batteries. On the right there, you can see my starter battery, and that's very similar to a car battery. You basically use the energy in that whenever you want to start the engine. On the left there, you can see my leisure battery. The leisure battery powers all the other electrical things on the boat. So these things would include my lighting, my fridge, my water pump. I have plug sockets as well for if I want to use my laptop or charge my phone. These are all powered by the leisure battery. I previously had 2 lead acid leisure batteries, which you can see on the left. But the problem with lead acid batteries is they can be damaged if you allow the charge to drop below 50%. In fact, the original batteries on my boat did get damaged and stopped working, so they were replaced by the previous owners. I've always been worried about this happening to me, so I decided to switch to a lithium leisure battery instead. They cost more to buy, but they're meant to last longer, and you can discharge them to lower levels without damaging them. By the way, this isn't a sponsored video. I haven't been paid anything to make it, but I was given my new leisure battery by Ecoworthy, which is the company that makes them. I was in 2 minds about whether or not to accept it, because I don't want to start advertising things on this channel, but I knew it was going to cost me quite a lot of money to get my new electrical system fitted, so this basically saved me a few £100s. The second way I get electricity is with the solar panel on my roof. I think everybody knows what a solar panel is, so I don't need to explain that. But when it comes to narrowboats, there are basically 2 types of solar panels that you can get. The one I had before was a flexible solar panel, so it was just stuck on my roof and you could barely see it. I really liked how that one looked, but unfortunately it had stopped working, which is quite common with flexible solar panels. They only last a few years, so I decided to replace it with this rigid one here. Rigid solar panels generally last longer, and the idea of having them on brackets like this is so that you can angle them towards the sun. If you're wondering why part of my roof is now a different colour, it's because the previous panel left a bit of a rusty mess. This has been sanded down and protected, but I still need to paint over it to match the rest of the roof. The solar panel also charges my leisure battery, although it's not doing very much at the moment because I'm currently in the shade. The new panel is also by Ecoworthy, but there are loads of companies that sell similar ones. If I'm honest, I'm not sure how I feel about the look of rigid solar panels. I do really miss how discreet my old solar panel was, so if anyone has had a good experience with flexible solar panels and you know of ones that last a long time, then let me know. Anyway, I hope you found this video interesting. It's a very, very basic guide. I was going to tell you about my inverter and solar charge controller, but I decided this video was already too long. However, if you have any questions, then please let me know. Bye!